For this section right here, we're going to try to get to maybe a little bit more of a specific idea of what we're going to do in this Art 104 class. When we talk about art as an introduction or just a sort of an idea, is that we're talking about something that's pretty broad. And that broadness doesn't really help us that much into kind of understanding what it is and what we use it for and how we're kind of involved in it. So we want to get a little bit more specific. And that's what this section is about. This little section right here is to be able to go over 3 themes that are going to run throughout every single thing that we do in this class. Every bit of information that's kind of set out for you to kind of play with and understand, every activity, every discussion, all of it. There are going to be 3 ideas that are really important, and that goal is to get all of those ideas working together so that you can see your engagement, your ideas, your voice, your participation in this kind of this visual idea of art that is in this world all around us. We want to be able to understand our role, you, me, everybody's. Okay, so those 3 themes that are all literally intertwined to every single bit of information that we're going to get, every activity that we're going to do, every discussion that we're going to be having here in this Introduction to Art class. To begin with is that we need to start seeing art as context. Art is always and always has been a mirror to the time and place that it was created. It's always a reaction to whatever's going on around us. And it's always been that way, and it probably will always continue to be that way. So art isn't necessarily within an object, but it's within the experience of whatever that object is in context of that time period. So we can learn a lot from that, and that is kind of the reason why we go through that art history timeline. So they'll be there, and we'll look through that, and we'll try to understand different various art pieces, kind of some of the things about them, but also the context that surrounded those art pieces at that particular time. The second theme that's going to run throughout is that art is a visual language, very much the same way that Spanish is a language or English is a language. And that is the language of information. We are constantly given information, and that information is coming to us in a visual format. And we'll go over some of the vocabulary to that format so we can understand better that information, so that we can not necessarily take it at its face value, but we can understand what it actually really means to us. So art as communication, and then we're going to be able to speak that language, is the second theme. And then finally, and probably the most fun for me because I'm a practicing artist, is that you're going to be able to see your own role in art. You're going to be able to see your own role because you're going to get engaged with the processes of art. You're going to see that creativity is a natural, innate human response. It's just a fancy way of saying we perceive the world about us, those creativities, and since we all perceive, we're all creative. If we're all creative, we're all artists. And you do that throughout your entirety of your life. It doesn't matter if you pick up some charcoal or some paint or any of those other kinds of media. It's just the way that you think. It's the way that you react and the way you express. So we're going to be able to start to see some of that by some of the projects that we're going to do. They're going to be literally art projects. And you're going to kind of impress yourself. I can guarantee that. And that'll be the fun. That'll be the fun parts of this thing. So we're going to be able to see these 3 themes. Art is a mirror to the time and place of the history that it was created, so we can understand those histories and we can understand ourselves a little better. Art is always communication. We'll be able to understand the language of that communication, and you are an artist. That's our third theme. Art is engagement. Art is you. Art is your voice. And I honestly cannot wait to get started with these kinds of ideas, because now we can kind of bring this broad idea of art into a few things that kind of could possibly mean a little bit more to ourselves here and now, and then of course going forward to whatever it is you're planning on going to do in your near future. So, yay!